Good morning. Good morning, the MOAS. Chef, it's finally here, Chef. The MOAS is here. We've been waiting how many years for the MOAS? Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Make it stop. Oh, man. What a move, huh? You bought GME because the pre-market live stream had held 28? Fuck yeah, Richie. Let's go, man. Yeah, 28 was sick. I can't lie. 28 was sick. We got that right. Thing held 28 all afternoon. Very nice. So that was actually clean. It was clean. The 28 was clean. Can't hate on it. Can't hate on it. GME, everyone. Yep. Good morning, everyone. That's funny. GME. Good morning, everyone. GME. I just need to get out. Yeah, hopefully it holds up for you guys. That would really suck if it, shares, I think shares were the best way to trade this, but if you do have options, I genuinely hope that this thing can hold up for some of those people that are holding. I think it will. I don't think you're just going to see it die. But can I sing? No, I cannot. No, I cannot. I cannot sing, but I'll do it. I'll sing. I don't care. All right. Well, obviously a lot of focus on the memes today. GameStop, AMC also going with it. Yeah, what a move. I think, where's the AMC at? Yeah, AMC hit 13. You know what the other thing to be watching, guys, is it's a little bit of a sneaky watch, is Robinhood. Don't think it'll get, as crazy as the GMEs of the world, but Robinhood's definitely reacting to the to this action. So you can see right here, Robinhood's getting a little bit of action because of this GME AMC. Will I short it? No, I do not short this stuff. This is not my game. My game is not to short this kind of stuff. There's short sellers out there, like the small cap short sellers, that's their trading strategy. And yeah, it can make you a lot of money, but it can also be the largest losses I see online are the people that do that. But I also see some major wins, right? So not my game. I don't get involved, guys. Maybe, right, I could have seen myself taking a little bit of that 28 action yesterday for some longs, but I decided not to do it because of my last week, which is understandable. I just wanted to be safe, wanted to be smart, wanted to not, I didn't want to start doing things outside of what I usually do. And so I stayed away, but hey, it was nice, right? It was nice. It was a nice level. It was a nice hold. Congratulations to you guys out there that are a part of it. And the one thing I will say, just the one thing I would say to be cautious of is offerings, okay? This is a great opportunity for companies to do offerings out there when you start to get these big moves, right? These are companies that do need cash, okay? You need to understand this. This is my only my only concern for you. Is watch out for offerings, okay? These companies will most likely, or they'd be stupid not to, do stock offerings during these times. So stocks like AMC, like GameStop, if they need cash, if they need cash infusions, if they want to use this as an opportunity to get more cash for operating expenses, this is when they do it, okay? So be aware of that. Make sure you understand that. Staying here too long could get you stuck in some kind of an offering, which is usually the end of the move, right? That offering is usually the end of the upside move. So only thing to be careful of there. Make sure you understand that. if you are getting involved in this today. All right. But besides the memes of the world, we do have important things going on in the market today. We have PPI data today, CPI data tomorrow. So these are important for the overall market, the overall NASDAQ ES, right? GME traded, I think, triple what the SPY traded yesterday. I think I saw this stat. I think Mans posted this. Let me see if I can pull it up. The volume in the meme stocks was almost triple of the SPY yesterday, which is pretty astonishing, which is, again, another testament to some of that difficulty on the overall market with this low volume. Here it is right here. 407, more than triple, almost 10x. Holy shit, almost 10x. AMC, 475 million shares traded. SPY, 36 million shares traded. Lowest volume of the year. Almost 10x volume in AMC yesterday versus the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. So that's crazy. So pretty wild there. And I hope that we get a change in this volume, this lack of volume today. I'm hoping that we get a little bit of that action today, a little bit of that juice. We want the juice on the overall market. A little bit of action there would be nice off this PPI number. So let's see. Let's see what happens. If you guys could, press that like button. If you guys are feeling good today, I'd appreciate a like, a subscribe, and let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get started. Good day to make it a good day. Beautiful day to have a beautiful day today. I'm feeling confident. I got my feet back under me yesterday, and let's start grinding back this May. All right, here we go. PPI today. Not sure why PPI is before CPI. I guess they decided to change it up for no reason. But today, PPI 8:30. You guys can see that right there. That is an important event today. Very important event today. And 10 o'clock, we have Jerome Powell speaking. All right, so could be a little bit of an interesting morning, right? Maybe you wait. Maybe you wait till 10 o'clock. Maybe you give the market 30 minutes today before getting too aggressive, right? I bet you the first 30 minutes are going to be nothing but people focusing and a lot of volume in GameStop, AMC, right? So the first 30 minutes are going to be pretty interesting of the market today at open. And then after the first 30 minutes of the market, you're going to get Powell opening his mouth. So could be a little bit of a difficult morning there, and that's probably a good reason, every reason, to probably wait until maybe 10 o'clock, sit pretty, relax, take a few deep breaths, let the market trade around for 30 minutes, and then see what Powell has to say, see how the market reacts, and then try to take some action off that. That's my game plan today, and I'm going to stick very true to that. I do not want to walk into the market, lose in the first, 5, 10, 15 minutes, get caught in something nasty, and then see Powell speak, and then, I just don't want to be involved in that. I would rather be the one that's patient. Let's wait for 10 o'clock today. Wait for that Powell speech to get out of the way, and then see where that action takes us. Tomorrow, CPI, you can see that's very important as well as retail sales tomorrow morning. So make sure you know that. If you are swinging anything overnight, you do have CPI tomorrow morning. That's big. That's bigger than PPI, right? CPI is typically a larger move than PPI. So CPI tomorrow, Consumer Price Index, as well as retail sales, 8:30 tomorrow morning. Keep an eye on that. And then the rest of the week is pretty much our normal stuff. Unemployment claims, a couple of housing stuff, import prices, pretty much the end of the week. All right? Alex. Appreciate you, Alex. Thank you, brother, as always. As always, Alex. Good morning, my friend. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's go to what we got. What I should do is, I bet you I could do this. No, I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Hold on. I'm going to do it real quick. Let's have a little bit of fun real quick. Display capture, main charts. Yep, do that. Okay, make this smaller. Do this. There's your chat. There you go, right there. There's your GameStop bottom left ticker. That's your CNBC. I'm not gonna. Shit. I'd have to make another screen. Never mind. Let me delete that. Thought we'd have a little bit of fun there, but it takes too much time. I'm not gonna have time to do that right now. I'm back. Sorry about that. Stream ended for a second. All right, let's continue. Yeah, my OBS just shut down. It was doing a little bit too much. All right. Economic or earnings calendar. Earnings calendar. I'm back, right? Did I lose you guys? Make sure I'm here. I lost you for a second, I think. Computer overload. Doing too much. Stop doing too much, Desi. Just do the damn stream and shut up. All right, let's continue. All right. Earnings calendar. Not much this week. Alibaba this morning. I actually want to see how Alibaba did. Alibaba, I'm going to keep Home Depot, C Limited. Nothing really tonight. Cisco, nothing I'm too focused on. Walmart, Baidu, JD. So really nothing on the earnings side. How did Alibaba do? I'm actually sort of intrigued by that. Oh, down. Okay. It's very interesting that Alibaba is such a weak stock, in my opinion. Alibaba I was reading some information about them yesterday. They have their valuation is so low versus what the company makes and the cash they have on hand. It's just because it's a Chinese stock, I think. Really not a terrible company, and probably deserves to be much more valued than what it is. I think the overarching problem for Alibaba is that it's just a Chinese company, and people just don't really like to invest in Chinese companies. So, yeah, down. I'd have to read about their earnings to really know whether that's true or not. But I was reading some things about it. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. Yeah. Let's move on. All right, let's get started. No more messing around. Here we go. NASDAQ futures. Let's jump into the levels. Jump into the charts. Yesterday, nice 18,000. Why is this here? Yesterday, very nice 18,265 level. We were talking about that level yesterday. And a decent opportunity yesterday off that level. I tried a few longs on the QQQ. I had like a 10-15% scalp, but never really got much. We took some scalps here on the QQQ down at that 18,265. Caught a little bit of this action yesterday, but I was looking for more. I was looking for a continuation back towards those highs. That's obviously not what we did. I got a little piece of the Qs here. It was a little VWAP hold right in this general area. There was a little VWAP hold right here, which we longed yesterday. So some decent trades there. Was able to squeak out a few profits, but after that, guys, right? This has been the sort of how the market has been. It's been that big move, sort of that morning drive move, and then it's just been dead, right? So we were able to get something there yesterday, but after that, it just died, right? The action just died again. So we got to continue to be careful of that sort of afternoon lull, right? That afternoon action has been sort of dead. Really hasn't been that continuation move midday. Now today, we can see these levels are very clear again. So let's go ahead and start going over our levels. 18,265 was our demand yesterday, which held very nicely all day. And it held again here in the pre-market, right? We can see that's our 18,265. We talked about this level on the live stream yesterday. That was our 18,265. And you can see our 18,265 held again yesterday. So pretty nice, right? We are holding above a previous high, right? That's what the NASDAQ is doing right now. It is holding above a Tuesday high from last week, which is clean, right? That's a nice structured hold right now on the NASDAQ futures and is potentially going to help us move higher. Now, of course, today we have PPI, which is sort of that monkey wrench that we have to be careful of. We have to be careful of that PPI here at 8:30, and of course the 10 o'clock Jerome Powell. But for now, the technical hold over 18,265 is very nice, right? Very nice. Get Ivan out of the chat. I'm going to look at GameStop. We don't need to spam GameStonks. Get him out. Thank you. 18,265, very nice, right? Very nice. You can see right there. And so that's going to be a level we should watch today, right? That should be a level we watch today. If we do pull back to 18,265 and we do hold that again today, that could be definitely a long level to watch, all right? So let's make sure we have that level on our charts. Make sure we have that 18,265 on NASDAQ futures. If we drop below that level, there's a few spots that I'm watching. The bigger spot that I'm watching is 18.2. Okay, 18.2 is definitely a big one. This is obviously a very strong level. We can see that here. Previous highs, very strong low from Friday. And so we definitely want to look for, if we do move down to that 18.2, does that hold again? So we definitely know 18.2, that's a core level there. And we definitely know 18.265, that's another major core level. Now, there is a little bit of a level here in between that I have been sort of watching, and we can see held yesterday on the aggressive, on that very random drop intraday. You see this drop intraday. That stopped, that bounced at a key level, and I'll show you what that level is. That is right here. That is that Wednesday high, right? You can see right here. It's that Wednesday high. It's this Thursday high. And you can see yesterday, that's where that wick just came right back up off of, right? So we can see that's also a sort of intermediary level there that I would have in my charts. I'm going to put it like, I make it a little bit smaller so that I know the importance of it. The thicker lines for me are sort of how I indicate whether it's a very big level or a sort of minor level. So I think this is a big level, this 265. I think the 18.2 is a very important level. And I think 18,235 it's important, right? We saw holds here in the past. We saw holds here yesterday, but I don't think it's like extremely, extremely strong. It could be a level that breaks down if the market starts to get weak. So those are my three downside levels I have today. To the upside, obviously, it's this 18,310. If I go to the 5-minute chart, we can see that 18,310 yesterday. Look at this right here, 18,310, 18,310. So we have to be careful there in the short term, right? The short-term level, 18,310, that's where we were rejecting yesterday, and that is where we are rejecting here in the pre-market. The big level above, the major level above, is this 18,350. 18,350 is, if we go over the 4-hour chart, we've talked about this level, it's this rejection point from April 15th. And that is also the high that we saw over the last 2 days, right? We can see that very clearly right here, right here. So 18,350 is our major, major level above. That is going to be the level that you are going to want to see break for the true continuation, right? So until we break that 18,350, we could just continue to see this, right? This could be our move on the market until we break that 18,350 above, all right? So what I would look for today, which is what I looked for yesterday, is possibly those pullback longs, 18,265, right? That's a very, very viable thing to look for today. We could look for that 18,235, and we definitely want to be looking at that 18,2. Be careful on longs today if we are rejecting this 18,310, and be careful on longs as we approach the 18,350 if we see that upside. Above 18,350 would definitely clear up the upside move, all right? QQQ, very clear channel here on the Qs. We can see we're just sort of stuck between some levels. Yesterday, we held that 442 very nicely. We can see right here that was our Tuesday high. Remember, we talked about that Tuesday high. And look at where we held yesterday on the Qs, right at that 442. So that's very nice, right? That's a very clear break and hold above previous highs. That's good, and that's good for upside, right? That would be a level that if we stay above, we should see potentially more upside continuation if we stay above 442. So that's a very clean, right? We had last week sort of general channel highs at this 442, and we can see that we are holding above it yesterday. Very clean. So let's make sure we continue to watch that 442. If we do get some reaction to the downside today, let's be careful shorting into this level, right? Look what happened to people that shorted into that level yesterday. no good, right? Shorting into that level yesterday, no good. If you shorted here into that level, bam. If you shorted here into that level, bam. If you shorted here and chased this downside into a key level, bam, right? No matter how aggressive something may look, right? Look at how aggressive those 2 5-minute candles looked yesterday. Look at the reaction off 442, all right? So we need to make sure we know that. We cannot be starting our short positions right into this 442 level. That is not somewhere that you want to be entering a short position near, right? Because then your risk reward is just so off. If we look at this hourly chart, it's really quite a nice structure above 442 for now, right? Below 442, we have that 440.5, 2 nice structure points below for that pullback long potential, all right? To the upside, it's very clear at 444. We can very clearly see the double top highs at 444. Let me zoom out here. You can see 15-minute chart. Very clear little double top here up to 444. We do want to be careful of that. So where are we trading right now? We're trading in a 2-point range, guys, on the QQQ. Again, a little bit range bound. I don't love it, right? It's not going to present the best opportunities if we continue to trade in these sort of ranges. This is a 2-point range on the QQQ. What would I like to see today? Break and holds of either side, right? Break and holds of either side really give us those opportunities. If we don't get the break and holds of either side, then we need to be traders at the demand and at the supply, right? We have to look for longs here, and we have to look for potential shorts here. That's the only trades you can take here. You cannot trade in here, right? We talk about this. We either trade here or we trade here. We either trade for the rejection play or the break and hold above, or we play for the bounce, the demand hold, or the break and hold below, right? The common theme here is that trades are created at these two levels, right? They are created at these two levels, not in random center of the channel, random entries, right? If you did that yesterday, you just sort of got thrown around, right? If you just were entering in random spots in the center here, you just got thrown around all day. So make sure we understand that. Be particular. Be cautious in this type of action. All right, ES. So ES, very nice hold above that Friday high yesterday. We can see that right here, right? We have that Friday low. We had that 52.33 Friday low. We can see that that is holding there yesterday. Very nice double bottom. Below that level, you still have the 52.27, which I think is a very important level, right? We can see right here, 52.27 is that Tuesday high. We're still above that. We're above those Friday lows. So we still have reason to look for those pullback longs down at these levels, right? These levels continue to hold strong. Little bit of a level here right now is 52.50. Let me show you why I have 52.50 on my charts here. There is some reactions at this 52.50 over the last 2 trading days, both Friday and yesterday. Here's why, right? Look at this. 52.50, 52.50, 52.50, and yesterday 52.50. After failing below 52.50 yesterday and rejecting it, it caused more downside, and we couldn't get back above 52.50 yesterday. So what's a level that I'm going to be watching very short term here today? Sort of that, seesaw intraday is 52.50. Do we reject this again here? Or do we start to see 52.50 turn into support today, maybe for that next little push to the upside? So I think that's a key level to watch today, guys. 52.50 on the ES. We definitely have our supply highs here up around that 52.70. So if you do take a long over 52.50 today, all right, what is the trade idea? The trade idea is only a long into these highs, right? It's really only a long into these highs. Your profit taking has to be here, right? If you are going to trade in the middle of this channel, if you're going to take something off 52.50, the logical trade idea is only to long into here, right? If you're going to short 52.50 today, if you're going to look for shorts here, the only logical short is down into 52.33, right? This is what you're working with here. You're working with a small margin if you're going to trade inside that channel. So make sure you understand that, right? We're not longing 52.50 hoping for an all-time high breakout because we have to be aware of the potential rejections above. Whether that happens or not, that's how you have to game plan your trading, right? That's how you protect yourself. Whether you think this is going to break out or not, right? Even if it does, you have to game plan. You have to have a realistic and a realistic expectation on your trades. And so A realistic trader would say, all right, I could long this 52.50, but I definitely want to be profit taking into the double top supply highs at 52.65, right? So make sure you have those game plans set before you take those trades. The reason I don't have any level at 52.65 where we double topped is because I don't want to lose track of 52.70. All right. I do not want to lose track of 52.70 on the ES, which I believe is the real level. 52.70 is really major up here on the 4-hour chart. We can very clearly see that. So I definitely don't want to lose track of the 52.70 level that is above on the 4-hour. It may not show it here in the short term, but if you zoom out, there is a block up here at 52.70 that you need to be cautious of. Over 52.70, that's sort of that, stairway to heaven. That's definitely the big breakout move if you see that over 70. But for now, that's what we got for now, right? That's what we got for now. We got the 52.33 lows. We got the 52.70 highs. We got a little bit of a middle of the channel level here at 52.50, but overall, it's a pretty sideways action, and hopefully on PPI, we get a little bit of movement here. SPY, you guys can see our 520 level held very nicely yesterday. 520, that gap fill level held very nicely yesterday, so let's keep an eye on that 520. Middle of the seesaw level here is 521.44. Why 521.44? Let me show you real quick before this data is released. This was a rejection point yesterday. This was a hold here. This was a rejection point from Friday, right? So this 521.44 area was a very clear, right here, you can see, look at this 5-minute chart yesterday. See this? 521.44. That was the rejection that led us lower intraday yesterday. So that's sort of that middle of the seesaw level for me today is 521.44. But overall, right, SPY is still in a very bullish scenario, holding above these previous highs. Friday highs definitely at the 522, right? 522.60, 522.70. So let's make sure we have that supply up there. Let's be careful if we move into that level. 522.65, 521.44, and then that 520 demand down below. All right, so let's see if we get that long at 520. That could be something to watch. Let's make sure we're aware of that channel high at 522.65. All right. Let's see what happens here in 1 minute. All right. We could reassess. We'll reassess this SPY. We'll reassess the ES. We'll reassess everything once we get this PPI data. Let's go quickly to the Russell. Wow, look at that. What you guys? We've been talking about this 2070, right? Yeah. Look at that. Nice little hold of that 2070 on the Russell. Nice, right? Yeah, I've been watching Tesla today for longs. Yeah, I like this 171 level. I actually talked to the group about the longs in our TA section this morning. Definitely, I'll go over that in a second. Yeah, Russell, very nice. 2070, good hold level. Keep an eye on that today. Keep an eye on that Russell 2070. I think that could result in our move towards that 2120, especially if those small caps stay strong. And Dow Jones is still right here, that 39.7. All right, 39.7 Dow Jones. GME is in the Russell, yes. GME is in the Russell. All right, we got data here in 10 seconds. If you guys could press that like button for me. Let's see how this data causes the market to react. Here we go. All right, 52.50. Did not like that. Holy okay, that's a pretty big move. All right. Interessante. This is, so did GameStop react off this? Not quite. All right, so that 52.50 level, definitely a tough level. Let's see how the wick sets up here. What did Tesla just do? Yeah, obviously. Data, man. It's data, right? Technical analysis can be invalidated by economic data, right? We know that. That's why that's why we're careful swinging into economic data. All right, PPI 0.5 versus 0.2. Wow, that's an increase. That's definitely a larger than expected PPI there. Yeah, PPI higher than expectations. That's slightly concerning, right? That's also the reason why I think the market is moving down so aggressively is because of the anticipation that CPI might be higher as well, right? That's really the important one there. I mean, PPI important as well, but the expectation now is that CPI might be hot as well. So, all right. Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because typically, yeah, a little bit of interesting on the market, right? Because typically you have the CPI number first, which is the important one, and then PPI is sort of a second thought, right? So you don't really have that thought of, okay, what's CPI going to do? You already know CPI typically on Tuesday. Wednesday, it's like, all right, we have PPI, but we already know how CPI was, and that's really the more important number. And all right, PPI is coming out. We'll see if there's a continuation on the already move of CPI. But now, with PPI first, right, now it's all, okay, what is CPI going to look like because of this PPI print? A little bit of I wonder why they did this time. I don't know why we got our PPI number first this time. I'm not sure. If anyone knows the reason, let me know. I'm not sure why the change of the calendar there. All right, so let's look at where the market just pulled back to. Let's go ahead and take a look at our levels now after this little drop here. It looks like you're holding that 18.2. I think that 18.2 is causing some of that reaction, some of these lows as well, but I think that 18.2 is definitely trying to hold us up here. A decent little bounce back after the drop. Yeah, look at the 18.2. Look at that. Look at that 1 minute chart. So levels are leveling, man. Levels are leveling. Look at this. Where did we just hold, guys, after that market drop? 18.2, right? So this thing's pushing right back up off 18.2. That is going to be our major level to watch here, guys. 18.2, major level to watch there. Do we hold it, or do we fall below it today? Look how clear that is already. And if we go to the ES, I'm assuming there's going to be a level on the ES that we already marked out. It's the 52.26. It's also the 52.17, right? Right at those two levels. So market's definitely respecting those levels already. The 52.17 that I had marked out here and the 52.26 definitely gives me some confidence that those levels are correct here after seeing that. But look at what just happened, right? Look at what's happening right now. This is going to be very key today as well. The ES just got back above Friday's and yesterday's lows, right? That's concerning if you're looking short, right? You do not want to see that. If you're looking to short today, you are not going to want to short into these lows, okay? Do not short into yesterday and Friday lows at 52.33. That could be a very interesting wick back higher, all right? So be careful of that. 52.33, we're trading right back above it. If we got to go down to the 1 minute chart, unfortunately, because that's just what we have to do here to see the actual candles. But we can see, look, 52.17, 52.26, both of our demand levels just held. And look at what the ES is trying to do right now. It's trying to hold over Friday's lows. All right, look at that. Trying to hold right over Friday's lows. So very interesting to see all three of our levels just get sort of tested there. Very nice. Levels are true. Levels are true here. So make sure you know them. 52.33, 52.26, 52.17. I would not short this market if you were above yesterday's and Friday's lows. That does not make sense, right? If the ES is sort of chilling here today and it's starting to push higher, I would not be looking to short at that low right there. That could be a really interesting wick back higher. You are holding above this low from yesterday at 18.240. That's also this Thursday high, 18.240. So make sure you watch that 18.240. If you fail 18.240, then I think you can move back to the 18.2. Okay? So you're looking for failures of these levels if you're shorting. You're looking for holds of these levels if you're longing today. All right, let's get into some stocks. Tesla, pig with makeup. Even right there, man. You get a little bit excited and bam. So, yeah, again, that just doesn't give me confidence, right? I don't like it. Yesterday, what was the move? Pop and fade. Unless you just longed it off the open, which you could have. I can't long off the open like that. But if you longed it off the open, great. Tesla, big upside. Where did it move into? Right into our 176 supply. right into our 176 supply. We were talking about this in the chat yesterday. I know some of you guys caught this fade yesterday. What a beautiful fade. Right off our key level at 176 supply. Very nice there. The reason why I was interested in longs today, which I maybe still am, depending on what I see here today on the market, is the channel low demand, guys. We did reclaim a channel low demand, which I think is important, right? We have this channel low here at 171. We have this low here at 171. So we can see this was sort of our channel, right? We have about a 5-point channel here on Tesla, which we did get underneath, but quickly have reclaimed back above, right? We had a little bit of a move below, but we reclaimed back above. And yesterday, after the fading move, where did we hold, right? We held at that 171 level, and we held at that 50 daily SMA, right? So I sort of like that. That's why I was interested in maybe taking this long again off that channel low for another pushback higher. But now, with PPI, you're going to have to be a little bit more cautious today, right? I'm not going to just be looking for that long there today. We're going to have to definitely see what that NASDAQ and that ES does. It looks like the ES is holding over that Friday low for now, which is good. But we'll have to be cautious of the continuation today. But 171 definitely looks like a level that you could find a potential long off of, something I will be watching today. The problem that I have with Tesla and why I just have some difficulty trading it long is just look at the chart, right? What is the overarching theme here on Tesla? It's that every move higher just ends up getting sold into. So you're sort of trading into you're trading into a move that you almost know is going to get faded into. There will be one day that it doesn't, right? Who knows when that is? But for now, the overarching theme on Tesla is that, hey, these pops are going to potentially fade, and how long can you trust your long position? The one thing that maybe cleans this up for me today is a hold over this pre-market high, right here. It's around 173. It's like 173, 172.80. If I see a very clean hold above this right here today, that might be a little bit more of a confident entry, right, on a hold right above this, right, for that long into 176. So I would say watch 171. I would not short Tesla into 171 today, right? Be careful of that. Careful of that demand below. And then if you do long off this 171, guys, just know that the overarching theme is that we do sell into these, pushes. So I would be a profit taker. Yeah. What a move higher, man. Look at that. Look at that. Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Friday lows. Holy shit. What a hold. What a hold. Look at that. Beauty. All right. Let's go to Nvidia. Nvidia. What a shit show this stock has been, huh? However, there is one level that is definitely true, and it is 892. That rhymes. 892, 895. You guys can see right here. This low, these lows, this low, low, low. Look at all the low holds at that 892 level. That level does not want to give up on Nvidia. 892, 893, all in that general zone. That does not want to give up. And yesterday we dropped into the 885 and had a very aggressive bounce off that level. So these demands, right, while Nvidia is not moving much, the demands are definitely holding, right? There's definitely buying stepping up at these levels still. The problem is this 91050, which is just an absolute brick wall of China. At this 91050, you cannot get over that level, and the intraday action just doesn't give you confidence that you're going to get a squeeze through that level. You can see even yesterday we had that grind off that 892 back into the 91050 and a short. So nice trades, right? Very nice channel trades yesterday on Nvidia. If you traded in the channel and you respected the channel, not bad, right? If you said, all right, I'm going to short at the supply highs and I'm going to play that, great. I'm going to long at the demand lows, great, right? Two nice trades there. You could look for it again today, right? We can look to long off the 892, look for that long into 91050, take profits. You can even look to flip short at that level. It's very possible. If you get over 91050, that's where this thing really gets going. And I would make sure you remember this longer term chart, because if you do get over 91050, that could be a very large move. And here's why. I think this is a very clean reason for Nvidia to go higher. The problem is you have earnings approaching, and that's probably why you're getting the action that you are. But this is in my opinion, a very clean little break retest flag, and I could absolutely see this setting up the next big move, right? Without a doubt. I would not be shocked at all to see Nvidia continue to maintain that 885, hold that previous high in the 4-hour. You can see it's already maintaining it. You have the 50 SMA curling higher, right? You have this flag pattern setting up, and I could absolutely see this being that next move on Nvidia. So make sure you remember that larger term picture. It's very important. But for now, you do need to be, you need to be aware of the fact that Nvidia is just not quite moving. So if you take short-term expiration contracts looking for that breakout move, you're probably just going to get eaten away by theta, and it's just not going to go anywhere for you. So you do need to understand both sides there. AMD, 149, big time level here, 149. If we go to the hourly chart, let's go ahead and take a look at that hourly. 149 is right here, 149, 149, 149. You can see it's trying to hold that right now at 149. So let's be careful of that 149. That's definitely a potential hold level on AMD. The other thing I will say is AMD is another sort of pig with makeup, man. It's crazy to see some of these stocks be under some of the pressure that they are. It's still very strange to me that the market is pretty much at all-time highs, and you're getting reactions. Oh, look, we're coming back down a little bit. You're getting some of these stocks that just look like shit. Like AMD is a stock that I would assume, would be performing with the market, but it is surely not. So make sure you continue to understand that on AMD, guys. While there's like some enticing longs on the market, and the market has been relatively strong, and there are days that you get that strength, AMD, again, is another stock that you need to sort of know, hey, I got to be careful of this thing just fading every upside move that comes in. All right, if you do see upside on AMD, just be careful of really holding on to it for too long, because look at what's happened to every long position over the last week and a half that has been, looking for that continuation move. There has been no continuation to the upside, right? It's always a pop and fade, similar to Tesla on AMD. So just be aware of that. Watch 149, big level today. What I would potentially look for today, if it does clean up and shows you something very nice, would be right here, 151. If you can get a little pop in the 151 today, then look for that rejection play. I would look for that. Look to see if you can reject under the last week's lows, right? Last week's lows and Monday's lows was 151. If you can get a short at 151, that could be something to look for. And then look at yesterday, right? Also keep an eye on the daily 20, guys. Make sure you're not longing too close to that daily 20, because look at this yesterday. Look at that daily 20 SMA. Very clear, just inability to get above that level yesterday, and just sort of faded off that. So be careful of that 20 SMA as well. TSM, I want to make sure you guys are aware of this gap here on TSM, because it's something I am sort of watching if the market does weaken. If you guys remember, we had a gap up on TSM last Friday. We had a gap up into this 148 supply level, which we are now trading back below, right? Very important. Look at this, 148 supply on the daily chart. You are back below that 148, and that is right here, right? Look at how we're now rejecting under that 148. That was that major supply high. So if TSM continues to fail to get above 148, I would assume weakness steps in. And if we do break below this 146 low, there's a gap here, right? There's a pretty big gap down to 143. All right, so something I will be watching. If I see this set up on TSM today, right? If I start to see this action set up on TSM, I will look to see if there's a short under 146 today. Something I will be watching. Watch the 148 rejection point as well. 4-hour chart MU. We talked about that 4-hour flag. It's been a nice pop to the upside. Just be aware here, guys. Look at this. You have a triple top right here at 124.50 on MU. You can see right here, triple top 124.50. Bam, it's right there. That's exactly where we rejected yesterday. All right, so Be aware, be cautious being long into that 124.50. You can see that yesterday. You got into that rejection zone and saw that downside move. So I would be not that fond of being long close to that. What would I look for on the longs? If you want to look for this pullback long, it's right here at 121, guys. 121. That's what I'm looking for right there. I want to be long closer to this level. Why is MU not a trade right now? You guys should be able to answer that. You guys should be able to answer that, right? It's not by a key level. It is not at my 121, and it's not up at my 124.50. It's just right smack dab in the middle. That's not a trade. That's a no trade. That's where you lay low. SMCI, big break under 800, right? Big break under 800 yesterday. Next level to watch below is 750, right? 750. You can see right here, 800, 800, 800, 800 tried to hold. It did not. It failed, and it rejected. So I would say as long as SMCI is under 800, it's going to lose a little bit of strength. The next level to watch here is right here, 750, 750, 750, 750. That is also where that daily 100 SMA is. It's going to be right around that 750. So a little bit of a right in the center as well, right? A little bit of right in the center as well, right? I would look for maybe longs down at 750. I would look for the bounce and fade at 800 personally. That would be something I'd be very interested in today. If we get that bounce and fade, right? If we get that bounce in 800 and we start to see that reject again, similar to what it did here yesterday, that could be another good watch for that sort of fading move off 800. All right. Let's go to Apple because Apple came into a very big level here, and we've been talking about this level. It's 187, right? 187. We talked about this level all week. We said this was the major supply above, and we can definitely start to see some of that resistance at that level. 187 right there. Keep an eye on that 187 level. That's big on Apple. What would I look for on a pullback today if you think Apple continues higher? It's right here, 185. This could be very clean. Look at this, 185 highs. Look at yesterday, guys, at 185. Look at the break and retest Apple did right here. See this? This is what you're looking for, right? 185 highs, very clear. Look at yesterday's wicks at 185. Very nice there, and very nice continuation. So 185 would be the level I'd look for. If you want to look for longs, I would want it back at 185. Look to see if that can turn into a long entry, but I would be aware that 187 is a big level above. All right? Be aware of that 187. Above 187, Apple can get going, by the way. Above 187, I think Apple can get going into that 190. Meta starting to look a little toppy here, a little head and shoulder formation slightly. And let's go to the 30-minute chart. You can see right here, definitely a little bit of a topping formation on Meta, I'd say. If you break under this 463 today, I'd say you have some pretty quick action down to 458. So this is something I would be watching. If you break under this 463 today, you can see right here, very big level. I would say you have some pretty quick action down into that 458. So I would look for that downside move today, personally. 463, if we can get a break and retest below it, maybe down into 458. Keep an eye on that. That's a big level down there. If we do hold the 463, we could see another pop into that 20 SMA and maybe another fade at that 470. All right. Google, I don't got much on Google. Just beware of the 172. That's what I'll tell you on that one. Keep an eye on that 172. If you can get above 172 and more interested, that's why I have an alert set at 172. Amazon, 185 is a big level here. You can see on the 30-minute. Let me go ahead and zoom out, get more. Here we go. So 185 right here, 185, big level on Amazon. Let's see if that holds. If it does not, I think you can drop lower into the 183.50. I got to get more time here. 1 second. Right. Here we go. Bam, bam, bam. All right. So if you drop 185, I think you come down into this level right here. 183.50. Right here, right here. That would be my next demand below. 183.50 if you drop below the 185. Shopify, yeah, pretty dead, man. It's pretty dead, unfortunately. You know, you guys know I'm the shop bull, but for now, it looks like it's dying off a little bit. under 60, you might have more downside here. Under 60 is not great for shop. If you get stuck under 60, be aware of that downside continuation. All right. What you all been waiting for. GameStop. What level did we talk about yesterday on GameStop, man? Press the like button if you played anything off 28, or if you at least watched that 28 yesterday. Yesterday on the live stream, we talked about $28 a share and how that was a major weekly level here on GameStop, and that it's a possible rejection level, but if we hold above it, it's a possible maintain and long level, right? Because look at how clear it was. Weekly chart right there, 28. Multiple reactions right at that 28. And if we go to the 5-minute chart, right? I mean, look at that yesterday, right? That's that's just cool to see, which I didn't expect from a stock like GameStop. But look at that 28 yesterday. Just a beautiful maintain above that exact level, that weekly chart level. And what a curl, obviously a squeeze this morning. So what am I looking at now? All right, what does it seem like you can watch on GameStop to find at least some type of level? I would say you're watching weekly chart levels here, right? We're watching weekly chart levels here. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some weekly chart levels. The next level I'd be watching is right around this 48.20, which is the high right here. The high of this week is 48. 48, the high of this week is 49.85. So anywhere between 48 and 50 is an area I'd watch for that next hold, right here, 48 to 50. Let's keep an eye on that, right? That's important. The next level I'd watch is right here at 58, right? You can see these highs on the weekly chart, 58. Keep an eye on 58. And then above that, you have 64, right? 64, 64. So 64, 58, right? And 50 are some pretty major weekly chart levels. To the upside, we can see a weekly rejection. It's like right in this 70. Looks like 70 could be pretty tough. So let's be aware of 70, right? 70 right there, pretty tough. Above that, you got a little 73.50. So let's be aware of that. And then above all of this, that 86 is big time, right? That 86 that's big time up there, that 86. So we have those levels in the weekly chart. Now let's go ahead and dive down into the 15-minute and see how they're reacting. Or let's go to the 5-minute chart. All right, and so look at this. 5-minute chart, 58 was one of our weekly chart levels, right? Look at how that is reacting right now. We can see why are the lines like that? You can see right there, right? That 58 is starting to show a reaction, right? Starting to show a reaction. What level is rejecting right now? That's 70.20, right? That's from the weekly chart. That's 70.20. Go back right here. The high of this candle is it's 70.75. I'll put that at 70.75. The high of that last weekly candle right there, right here, is 70.75. So if we go to the 5-minute chart, let's keep an eye on that 70.75. Let's see if it can hold above that or if it rejects there. So I would say get those weekly chart levels. It definitely respected it yesterday. I would say if you're trading this intraday today, look to see if it respects some of these levels that we have on our charts here. I'd say the 58, you can very clearly see it respected it there. You can see the 64, it respected it there. And for now, you can watch that 70.75. Watch it there. The only reason I'm going over this, guys, is because yesterday it actually proved to do something that you can maybe watch, right? You can maybe use some levels here, right? It actually, this is a very impressive. I mean, I think people just obviously, guys, you know, the masses just know that this is a short squeeze, which it is, and they have no idea of why, you know, GameStop held yesterday. But guys, this is pretty legit stuff right there, right? All day yesterday, the fact that we were able to maintain that level and it result in this move is actually quite legitimate, right? 28. I know it's GameStop, But if this was Nvidia, right? If Nvidia held above a weekly chart level like that, if we're just thinking about technicals, because that's all this is trading off for now, it's just technical analysis. 28, which was that very clear weekly shelf that was set up here for quite some time, right? So that's the only reason I have any kind of interest to see if it does it again, right? That's really about it. All right, guys. That's all I got. Yeah, Coinbase 100 SMA. Watch out for that 100 SMA. Coinbase has hit our target. We've been talking about this 190 level, this 194, 100 SMA for like 3 weeks now. It is here. Nice job if you took that short. All right, guys. That's all I got for you. If you could, press that like button. If you found any value from the stream today, if you got your levels ready for today, I appreciate if you could press that like button. If you could subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do a quick peek at the NASDAQ again for you. Yeah, so you can see NASDAQ holding that 18,240, holding above that 18,265. That's yesterday's sort of demand lows. ES, I mean, look at that. What a hold right at the 52.33, right back higher off that demand. Very nice. And those lows, those demand levels do not want to give up, man. And it was very, very pretty to see some of our levels react like they did there live. 52.33 being a beast right there at Friday and yesterday's lows. All right. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Tough day for the Rangers yesterday, man. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not going to lie. So you Canes fans out there, you guys might have the momentum, man. This would be a choke for the ages. This would be a monumental choke job by the New York Rangers. I pray to God that they win on Thursday. If not, I do not want to see a game. I'm going to be scared to watch Game 7. All right. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Go Rangers. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.